welcome back to today's show. I have an incredible guest on with us today. She's actually my business coach, but prior to that, she has evolved into a dear friend of mine, and I am so excited to have her on today. She is a high-performance life and business coach, a creative director for business owners and entrepreneurs in the fashion industry. She's a speaker, a mentor, and a model. Please welcome to our show, Miss Jem Munro. Hello, dear.
Yay, hi.
Hi.
Excited to be on.
Yes, absolutely. So first, tell everyone where you are from, because everyone's going to be like, where is her accent coming from?
Yes, and for 12 years that I've been in the States, I think only 3 people have actually guessed it right the first time. So, I'm from New Zealand, not Australia. And It's not the same thing.
I know. Like, I always get them confused.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So Kiwi, land down under.
Yes, well, I love it, and I always love hearing you talk. Maybe that's part of why I hired you to be my business coach, so I could hear you all the time.
I think that's literally the only reason that anyone ever hires me is like, hey, can you just keep talking?
Yeah. I know, you're so cute. I love it. So yeah, I mean, I think we met maybe like 2 years ago. It was interesting. I tell everyone, my family, let's put it this way, like, I'll be like, oh yeah, I invested in Jem, and my mom's like, oh, who's that? And I would go back to the story. I'm like, oh, well, we met like 2.5 years ago. I was like, out of the coaches that I knew, the coaching industry here in Atlanta that I knew at the time, I was like, Jem was like the only person who knew the same like small world of like coaches that I knew, like the Chris and Lori Harters, Angie Lee, Kayla Kraft. And I was like, oh my God, she's one of my people. Gabrielle Bernstein, all of that. So yeah, so I know that there was something special between us a couple of years ago. And like I said, we've just kind of like transitioned, evolved into a friendship, and there's something magical inside of her, and she definitely just knows how to light up the room and share her light with others. And that's, I felt completely aligned to work with her. She's done amazing things for other people with their businesses, and like I said, she just lights you up inside. So I wanted to feel her light every week. So every week we have a coaching call. It's great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe, that could be a part of the reason why my mother called me Jem.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And another thing I will tell you guys, I do have to give a lot of credit for this podcast to Jem, because I have had my podcast equipment, my microphone for about 1.5 years, and it's just the idea has just been there. And literally within the 2 weeks of working with Jem, she's like, podcast, get it going now. You're launching it like next month. And I was like, okay, I'm doing this. And she was just, holding me accountable and making me take the aligned action, because, this is what I want to do. And it's what I've been talking about for way too long. So I'm grateful for you. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. And it's even coaches need coaches, and it's one of those things where even like a personal trainer needs a personal trainer. It's because nothing like, if we know what to do, we know all the things. However, having this is why we have masterminds as well. Mm-hmm. It's because you have all these brilliant minds, and someone might think of something or say something that triggers something in you in a good way and lights a fire up your butt and goes, okay, oh my gosh, yes, I didn't think of it that way. Or, oh, that made me think of this. And it's just a creative kind of energy between coaches and trainers. So yeah. It's you had that you have the idea, you have that passion, you wanted to do a podcast, but again, like I know as an entrepreneur, you also have 1,000 other things on your plate. Right. And so sometimes it takes that one person from the outside looking in who is emotionally detached to just help you through.
Yeah, that's exactly. And you've been a catalyst, you've been a facilitator, cheerleader, all the things. So again, I'm so grateful for that. And yay for me for making the investment in you. So thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Because if fear held you back, then so your podcast wouldn't be coming out.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So and that's a testament to you overcoming any kind of fear or knowing that, hey, look, in order to break through a ceiling, you have to invest in yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm 100% about that. So just talking about like breakthroughs and stuff, I want you to share your story. Going back as far as you want to tell us, just kind of like any challenges or heartaches, heartbreaks, whatever, traumas even, that you've endured, and kind of like how you've turned darkness to light. So share with
Yeah,
that.
well, I mean, I don't. I'll go far back to before I was born.
Okay, there you go.
That's kind of where it started, but I won't like take too long there. So my brother, before I was born, I have a sister, a brother, and then another brother. And about a year and a half or so before I was born, he actually drowned when he was 1. And it was obviously very, very devastating for my whole family, particularly my mother. And it was funny because my dad had actually had a vasectomy by this point, like after my brother. But when he died, Mum was like, I have to have another child because I have to prove, to the world that I can raise a child and not have the child drown or die, right? I mean, it sounds morbid, but that was true. She was like, I have to have another one. So I don't know if this is actually true or not, but they say that I was the first baby in Invercargill, New Zealand, where I was from, 1985 when I was born, the first baby to be born on a reversed vasectomy. So
Really?
you know how like I've heard that all my life, but I'm like, I don't know if that's true. But anyway, I don't know how we'll ever be able to find that out. But anyway, they always say that. So anyway, I came along and I was a little girl. And I, a little, blonde, very light-headed, spirited, high-energy little girl. And, it changed the family. But the thing is I was actually born kind of with my destiny already stamped on my forehead because my family had fallen apart because of the death of Chris. They put so much pressure on this tiny little brand new baby gem to be the light, to fix the family, to bring the joy. I was born to fix. And so it's kind of funny that what I am today, right? But anyway, it was obviously, my destiny, but it was actually a lot of pressure because, as the years went on, my mother particularly put a lot on my shoulders to fix, to solve, to be the light, and to bring the joy and bring happiness back into everybody's life. And so at 6 years old was when my parents divorced, and I was taken away from my dad and my 2 siblings, and my mum and me and my closest other brother. We moved far, far away. So I later found that triggered a lot of separation anxiety from obviously dad, and rejection and abandonment because we lived so far away that I only saw him like once a year, and I grew up without my dad. And so a child at 6 years old, she can't see the logic in that. She can't see that, well, it's a plane away, he's a plane away. And, a single mother who had a cleaning job at this point, she didn't have a lot of money. We didn't grow up with a lot of money. And so I only saw him. But you can't explain that to a 6-year-old little girl who wants her dad. So, yeah, I've had a lot of kind of rejection issues that I've dealt with in the recent few years. But I was also forced into the masculine role. So, of course, Mum being a single mother and putting all of her hopes and dreams and aspirations and love and adoration and high hopes and everything into me, I was her savior. I was her shoulder to cry on. I was her basically everything, and I had to step into a very, very masculine role from 6 years old on to raise my mother. I've seen things I should never see. I won't go into that because that's her business. But as a child, yes. So I grew up really, really fast, and went to high school and I never really fitted in either. So I was always, super sporty. I did dance, I did sports. I was in the extension for, freaking math class and English class and all the things. And kids are mean. Like, they don't like somebody who excels in a lot of things. So I got bullied in high school, so 13, and then 14 years old. I got so bullied and had death threats from the kids at school, because they were like, if you win another game of netball. So we have this thing called netball, Netball. It's kind of like basketball, but you can't dribble. But anyway, so you'll have to go Google what netball looks like. But I was in the A team for like A grade for netball, and so I got death threats from other players saying, if you continue to play, then we're gonna do you one in. I was also the shooter, and so so bullied all through school. Finally, at 16 years old, I went, to hell with this. I can't, this is awful. Like, I didn't want to be at school. I just didn't want to, it was just awful and really, really bad experience. So, and then I got bullied as well, which, again, looking back, see, this is where awareness all comes into play, like in your adult years, because looking back, being single, with a single mum, and we didn't have a lot of money for the new clothes and the new things and this, that, and the other. So in New Zealand, we in high school all wear uniforms, and then they have, like, once a month or once every so often, they have this thing where you can come in your own clothes. We call it Mufti Day. And of course, I would go, and I wouldn't have any nice clothes. I'd have just cheap kind of stuff, and that was another reason why I got bullied. So, which is funny now, because I would walk into a room and I'd probably be the best dressed, and so now you can see that. And I work in the fashion industry, so you can see exactly where all of these things make us who we are today, where all this comes from. And so anyway, left high school. So I am a high school dropout. I did not go to college. I went into the workforce. I loved fashion so much that I actually started my job. Imagine like it's Express. It's called Glassons over there, but you guys in America, we wouldn't know what that is. So Express, and I worked in the distribution center because I just wanted to be around clothes so much. And but of course, no one wants to deal with like boxes and all that kind of stuff. But I got a job with, I applied for a customer service role, and that was the turning point for my life. Was at 17 years old. And yes, I was smoking marijuana at that point, 16, 17, drinking, going out, being a freaking mess, because I was distraught. I didn't know where I was supposed to be, who I was, how I fitted in, that whole thing. So going down a slippery slope. However, I got the opportunity. He said that he saw something in me, and I love it when people do that. I love it when because it's true. When you see something in somebody, like there's just an energy, you just know in that person. And he said that he just knew. So he gave me an opportunity, and I went from customer service, representative, kind of like answering phones, to being the sales manager and the Australasia rep we sold, medical disposables to the medical industry. And it was a brand new division of, and he said, here you go, raise it. So I took it into my hands and went from 0 sales to 20,000 a month in sales in like disposable latex gloves.
Wow.
And built this medical division from nothing. Yeah, and all over Australia and New Zealand. And I was there until I was 21. I was 50. Now this was going back, oh my gosh, how old am I, 35? Okay, so going back however many years.
Yeah.
So from 17 to 21, I was a company car, $50,000 a year at 19 years old, I think I was. And so I was quickly climbing that, and I just absolutely loved it. He introduced me to the law of attraction, The Secret, when I was 17. So when I came on board, he sent me to the New Zealand Institute of Management, got all my certifications for sales, marketing, all of the things, right? And then he left. And so, of course, when you have that mentor or that boss, you kind of follow them. If you can't follow them, then you find something else, you leave. So that's why I left. I never would have left him. So anyway, got married in New Zealand, moved over here. And so when I moved over here, I've always been active. Of course, I always did sports at school. So I always had a passion. I mean, I had a part-time job at 14 years old to pay for I was a smoker, so for my cigarettes, I smoked from 14 to 24 years old. And so I had a gym membership as well. At 16, I paid for my own gym membership and was always just fit. So when I came over here, I did mortgage for 2 years, and I was like, no freaking way am I doing corporate America. Sorry, corporate America, but there was no way. I lasted 2 years in that, and I went, nope, working for myself. So in 2013, I got certified as a personal trainer and started my personal training business 7, 8 years ago. So from there, people kept asking me because I was so in love with weights, with lifting weights, and everyone kept asking whether I did bodybuilding. And I didn't even know what that actually really meant because they thought I did competitions. So I looked that up and I went, oh yeah, sure, I'll do that. So then the next year and a half, I did, severe training, got very, very, very thin, very sickly looking. And of course, back in those, I thought I looked great, but no, I was also a natural bodybuilder. So, which I think, you think you're doing right by your body, which you are, because you're doing it naturally, but it's so taxing to get below 10% body fat for a woman. Naturally, it would have been better on my body had I actually done something like steroids or, like some kind of elite fat burner or something. Right. I had to take it to such extreme levels just to get the fat off my body. Wow. So it was 7 days of high intensity interval training. When I say high intensity interval training, I legitimately, it was running up a Stairmaster for 20 minutes and then like stopping and then sprinting and then stopping and then sprinting, 7 days a week. Plus I would go back in the afternoon and then go and lift weights on top of that. I was eating 1,200 calories with that excessive amount of lifting weights and cardio, HIIT training, and then I was taking yohimbe bark, natural fat burners, popping caffeine, 500 milligram caffeine pills on top of drinking copious amounts of coffee just to get my heart rate elevated every single minute of the day.
Oh my God.
So you can only imagine what my adrenals and my heart was pumping out and doing. So I did the competition, got second, it was whatever. And then 4 weeks later, I was getting ready for my next one 4 weeks later. And I went over to the Olympia in Las Vegas. On my way back, had an argument with my now ex-husband, and had a full-blown panic attack in the airport. So that when I had that panic attack, and I just was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually going to die. And I had to get on that plane, and I was having a panic attack, thinking I was legitimately going to, this was it. I was going to end. That was it. And got home, and then after that, though, I didn't listen to the universe. Right, I didn't listen to my body. I listened to the universe. I went, oh, okay, that was just a one-off. All right, whatever. Let's keep popping the caffeine pills. Let's keep getting ready for this next competition. Wow. And I just had panic attack after panic attack after panic attack until about 4 months later, and I went, okay, now I'm literally living in a constant state of anxiety, and I need to be able to function normally. So I went to the doctor. And I am not a pill taker. I don't even like to, if I've got a headache, I will suffer because I'm like, it's my body telling me something, like maybe I need to drink more water. And if I just mask the pain, then I'll miss something. So I don't even like taking ibuprofen or Advil, right? So anyway, I went there and they said, okay, well, you need Paxil and we'll give you Xanax. So anytime you go on a flight, take the Xanax, but every day you need to take Paxil. And now Paxil was actually an antidepressant and anti-anxiety. The problem with giving somebody who has plenty of serotonin running through her veins a dose of serotonin, well, you can only imagine. So I took one pill and I woke up the next day, and it was the 1st of December. I remember it like it was yesterday. I woke up and went to grab my coffee and have a sip and dropped the cup and collapsed on the floor. I was totally alone. My ex-husband traveled a lot for work in Canada. So I was completely by myself in the middle of nowhere out in Georgia. That's where we lived. And and of course, New Zealander, like just no one around. And I got every side effect under the sun. I mean, you name it, all those things that go along the TV, that all the side effects cause this. Oh, I got it. Oh, wow. Burnt, like my skin burnt from toes to head. I had blurry vision. I mean, like I couldn't see for 2 hours. I had to crawl to the couch, and it just felt like I was having a 2-hour-long panic attack.
Jesus.
So you know how like panic attacks, that you can only sustain that level of panic for about 30 minutes. The body will just die down. And I know that because that was one of my coping mechanisms when I was having panic attacks, and it would just always subside. However, when it's an artificial panic attack, oh yeah, that went on for 2 hours.
Jeez.
So when I finally was able to use the phone and call my ex-husband at the time, he said, and he started reading everything, and I was like, yes, I have that. Yes, I'm having that symptom. Yes, I'm having that symptom. And he said, suicidal thoughts, and I was like, no, I don't think so. And of course, because my brain had artificial chemicals running through it, my brain just instantly went and thought knives. Go and grab them. Go and slit your wrists. And I was like, what? And so I was freaking out because my brain went there and I had no control over it. I couldn't even stop the thought of doing it. And I had to go outside and I was pacing outside, and I was just like, oh my God. And stopping myself from doing it. And so I called my friend, and she called her friend who was a doctor, and they were like, take the Xanax, it'll knock out the Paxil. So I'm like going, oh my gosh, okay, don't by myself. Going through all this. And I'm like, okay. So I took the Xanax and finally was able to go to sleep. But then I woke up in the middle of the night, and my mind, you know how people say, oh my gosh, my brain was going a million miles an hour. Oh no. When it's chemically going a million miles an hour, like you cannot stop it. My brain literally felt like it was a ping pong ball with thoughts just going. And I was like, oh my God, I need to call 911. Like I actually called them to tell me to knock me out, because it just knocked me out. And but I didn't, because I didn't know in America how much it was going to cost to get ambulance, because I know in New Zealand it's public health. So it didn't cost anything, but I didn't know. I was like, oh my gosh, is it going to be like $500? Oh my gosh, my ex-husband would be so mad at me, right? So I just, and I woke up the next day and I packed my little dog up and I drove to Charlotte, North Carolina to go and spend like 2 weeks with my friends, because we from Charlotte to Atlanta. So anyways, I couldn't eat because eating made me feel uncomfortable in my stomach, and my digestive system and gut health was totally shot. So anything that I put into my stomach, I would have panic attacks. My period gave me panic attacks because there was something going on in my body that didn't feel good. And so it was so freaking bad. So because of having that one Paxil, and I had been so natural prior to that anyway, and it kind of just proved my whole point of why we should be natural, having that Paxil and what it did to me, that I then went to yoga 7 days a week, meditation. This was 2015. I actually became a 200-hour yoga instructor. I went all organic. Everything was natural. Everything was, healthy and the best of the best food. And everything was just so natural and so, I got into Ayurvedic medicine. Learning all about pitta and what was going on, with all the doshas. And it was just, I researched everything. And from there, that was when I found Gabrielle Bernstein as well. The Universe Has Your Back changed my life, got me through my divorce, because I was also going through a divorce at this point as well, not long after the panic attacks. So 2016, I was going through a divorce, which was the year after the bodybuilding. So anyway, all of the things.
Yeah, my gosh.
Yeah, and then that was the turning point. That was the big turning point, and that that was four to 5 years ago that I've been on this journey, and I just I'm level 2 alumni of Gabrielle Bernstein now, which really was the biggest. That was the biggest savior, is spirituality, learning about feminine, masculine energy, again, because I was so living in masculine since I was 6 years old. Yeah. So that was a big issue. I didn't cry for 10 years, 2006 to like 2016.
Crazy.
Didn't cry. Yeah, just nuts. So, but yeah, that's that's kind of how I got here.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. I'm glad that you shared all the details. That was really good. And I know that there's going to be a lot of listeners that will resonate, to some degree on that. So thank you for sharing that. And so speaking of your spiritual practice, like, how has it grown since 2016 then? Like, how have you just incorporated it even more into your life?
Every single day, since 2016. Okay, that's an over exaggeration, okay, because like 95%, there are days where I might not meditate for whatever reason, but it might be like I'm on vacation or something, but I will make sure to be mindful at some point in the day. But it has been a daily spiritual practice, daily. It's like any kind of muscle. And this comes from, obviously I can relate to this so hard because of all of my training, personal training and bodybuilding and all that kind of stuff. You cannot expect a bicep to continue to grow and evolve if you stop lifting weights. It's the mind, it's our soul, it's our brain. You cannot stop the self-work and the inner work ever until the day that we die.
I agree.
Period. You can't stop eating healthy and continue to be healthy. You can't just go and eat fish and chips every day once you've got all your blood results back. But hey, you got the A-OK, your bloods are awesome. Oh, cool. So now I'm just going to eat fried food every day. Right. It doesn't work like that. Neither does the brain. So every single day, I have done some form of daily meditation, mindfulness, awareness, some kind of work, whether it be ego, whether it be love, whether it be listening to podcasts, whatever it is, constant, just all the time. Because I also have, we all have the ability to fall back. And for me, I fell back. I have fallen back time and time again in life, and had to keep getting over all these damn hurdles. And so I just know that this is one thing that is just a non-negotiable, is that daily work.
Yeah. And do you feel, so if I don't journal, or if I don't meditate, if I don't do something in my routine on a daily basis, even if I don't go outside, I feel very foggy brained, unclear. There's just a lot of just misalignment happening. Do you feel the same way?
Absolutely. And this is what happens. We self-sabotage.
Yeah.
Okay. So everything gets good. We start growing tolerance and patience, right? We start becoming calmer, and we start having more compassion for other people. And we're going, okay, we're good. Okay, I'm not stressed anymore. I feel great. I don't need to meditate anymore. I don't need to do the work anymore. And that is our self-sabotage. So what happens is everyone has, I call it a happiness set point. Okay. And it's a point at which it's a ceiling where we are comfortable with that level of happiness or whatever it may be going on in our life. And when we go beyond that, when we go above and beyond and we, start to go above that scale or that set point, it's very uncomfortable. It's all good. This is up here is wealth, right? Here is love. Up here is that new relationship. Up here is like all this amazingness. But our set point's here. And when we go into here, because we've never had it before, that's why it feels uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. When we go into that, when we go above into that new realm, it feels so uncomfortable that the ego actually self-sabotages, and it sabotages that success. So a whole bunch of people who win the lottery, why do they all then, if they go to jail or they lose it all or they get divorced or they don't know how to cope with that discomfort and that unfamiliar feeling of being wealthy because they didn't gradually get there.
Right.
And so this is what we do with ourselves. We get happy and life is good and we're all in sync and in flow and that doesn't feel good. But wait, there should be like something must go wrong here. There should be something like, you shouldn't be this happy. This is crazy. Okay, great. I'm going to go cheat on my husband and then cause a divorce.
Right.
We go into some kind of sabotage. Mm-hmm. And it's always subconscious.
Yeah, absolutely. And with relationship stuff too, I just feel like a lot of like past like triggers or emotional relationship wounds, that kind of thing, like they start, like you said, I guess maybe in like a different realm, but maybe you can explain it, but like that's the discomfort. And then there's the self-sabotage.
Yep.
And they sabotage the relationship basically because of the fears and the emotional triggers that are coming up.
That's exactly right. They'll come up with excuses. They'll do something silly because it feels too good. So there must be something wrong.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so, they'll, they subconsciously sabotage it so that the ego can go, see, I told you.
Right.
The ego thinks that it's actually keeping us safe because it kind of is in a sense. Now, this does sound weird at the beginning, but the ego is there to keep us safe. It's a false sense of safety though, but it's keeping us safe from discomfort, which is kind of a nice thing to think. It's like, oh, well, thanks. Okay. Yeah, that's great. However, it's not intelligent enough, right? And it's coming from our past experience. Our ego is built from these negative past experiences. So it doesn't actually know. It's like, no, you're not saving me from discomfort. It is uncomfortable, but what's beyond that is pure bliss.
Yeah.
And so it's just trying to keep from that little small part of discomfort as we learn and as we grow. Okay, here's a really great example of this that might put it a little bit more into perspective. So the body likes to be at homeostasis. It likes to run very normally and very efficiently. So we all have a weight set point as well. This is why I call it a happiness set point. So we all have a weight set point. So let's say we have a weight set point at 100 pounds. Okay? Now I know that's crazy, but it's easy math. So let's say we have a weight set point of 100 pounds and our body likes to function that way. That 100 pounds is too much for us. And we're like, no, we want to drop weight. If we drop weight way too fast down to 50 pounds, that in between part, okay, that deficit is going to cause us so much discomfort and so much hunger, and we're going to go and grab all the sugar, and it's super uncomfortable because we went down from our weight set point way too fast, way too quickly, and we weren't able to gradually go through the process, the steps, learn and evolve and slowly go down to that 50 pounds if we do it too fast. Same thing on the flip side. If we jump way too soon into success, we don't know how to deal with it because we didn't learn what we needed to learn in order to sustain that level of success.
Yeah. Totally agree with that. Yeah. And I mean, I think that goes like, I know, the both of us, we teach on money mindset, and that's like been a huge thing. It's like, there's the gap. It's like, okay, people have this, I have my hand up, but they have like a certain like base level, like you're saying, and then they have like this certain desire, but it's the gap bridging them in between. Well, if they have a lot of like money fears and limiting beliefs around money and wealth, if they like all of a sudden get like $30,000, their behaviors and their fears and their limiting beliefs and their money stories are probably going to affect that $30,000 pretty significantly, unless they have learned how to weave through those behaviors, thoughts, beliefs, and all of that.
Absolutely. A money block is a money block is a money block.
Yeah.
You can be Kim Kardashian and have the same money block as someone who earns $50,000 a year. That person who earns $50,000 a year is going to blow through it, just like Kim Kardashian will blow through 50 million.
Right.
They have a money block, and it's spending for, whatever reason in their past that why they think that spending, like overspending, which it comes from many different reasons. But yes, it's that discomfort, no matter what. And people, this happens so many times to coaches and to business owners and entrepreneurs, is they get to a next income level. And like if you look back at where you were 2 years ago and where you are now, like our income has skyrocketed, right? And so many coaches or business owners, what they do is they get to that increase in money, and if they haven't gone through their blocks, they will still spend it all or save it all, or they'll still continue to do the same behaviors that they were doing 2 years ago. It doesn't matter how much money we have or how much money we need. If you've got a block, that it's going to follow through.
Absolutely. I know. And, something that I teach in one of my courses is the relationship of your behaviors, of like how you behave with money is very connected to how you love and date and relationship. And because it is a relationship, your relationship with money is the same as a relationship with another human being. So it's just really fascinating. Like for me, I mean, at every level, like there's another level of healing for all of us, so it's just interesting as I've gone through the relationship challenges over the last year and a half. I'm like, I try and analyze, okay, well, where was my money situation happening? Like, and I correlate the two, and I'm like, oh, I had like a really good month when things were really good in my relationship. It was interesting.
Yeah. Well, see, it's all energy.
Yeah.
It's all, it's all energy. So that's probably when you're in that good energy and when you're in good flow and everything's in sync, everything's gonna inflate, but maybe, and again, I'm your business coach, not your mindset coach, so we haven't gone deep into this, but so I don't know whether you self-sabotaged.
Right.
I don't know. We haven't had that conversation.
we can have that.
Yeah. I mean, did you self-sabotage?
Well, yeah, I will say with my relationship, my past relationship, I did not, let's put it this way. After like the whole Love is Blind experience is when I hired a mindset coach, and I was like real firm in boundaries. After that, I was like, I know who I am. I know my worth. I'm good. Right. Went on a couple dates. There were some guys that I knew they wouldn't have shown up the way I needed them to. And I point blank told at least one of them that, like, I was like, I've fixed guys for my entire life. I am no longer available for that. Like, basically you're broken. Like, this will never work. And he wasn't broken, but he had just gotten out of a relationship that ended very poorly. But anyway, so he was hurting, and I was like, no. Well, then the relationship that I entertained for the last year or so was with a friend that I've known my entire life. So there was a story behind that. Had I just met him when we became intimate, I would have been like, okay, you're not showing up for me, peace out. But I stayed connected. I definitely was accepting some low accountability behaviors. I let my guard down. I let my boundaries down, all the things. And I was like, I recognize, I'm like, wow, God put him in my world, not to screw up our friendship, but to teach me a freaking lesson. And this is the last lesson, because now your friendship could be at jeopardy, and that sucks, and yeah, I mean, granted, him and I have not spoken in 4 months, and it's a good thing. We left on really good terms. We both love each other, both have respect for each other, but we were like, we are not showing up as our best selves for ourselves or each other. So yes, sabotage, I would say yes, because I let my boundaries down because, there were fears coming up obviously for me. So
yeah. Well, the same, we're gonna get, the universe is phenomenal really, because I love how it just keeps throwing the same lessons at you until you learn.
Yeah.
And what I found is usually the lesson is forgiveness somewhere.
Yeah.
Forgiveness
100%.
is needed some, and that was the lesson that I personally needed to learn through a lot of the different kind of relationships that I was having, not with loving relationships, but with other people. Relationships with, it was really hard when I got remarried and obviously had to, deal with that different family accepting me, and it brought up all of my dad's crap. Wow. All of the rejection, all of the abandonment, because they weren't ready to, accept me. And so all of that I was a 6-year-old again. I was a little 6-year-old, and what was really crazy was I forgave my dad. And look, it's not his fault, right? It's not his fault, but the 6-year-old Jem didn't know that. So he has his own upbringing and his own beliefs and his own stuff that he's dealing with. And he was dealing with my mum, which had nothing to do with me. So, so I had to actually, energetically and emotionally forgive him. I didn't call him and say, I forgive you, because that would have been like, why?
Right.
What I even do to you? Yeah, that's just unnecessary. You don't always need to actually verbalize it to people. That's unnecessary. So, but I forgave him. And as soon as I did that, I forgave the people who weren't accepting me into their family. As soon as I forgave my dad, everything else dropped. Everything else fell away and went, oh my gosh, wow, I don't feel rejection anymore. I don't feel, I'm totally good. What the heck? Like, it was like night and freaking day. Night and day. So that was when I finally learned that lesson of forgiveness and how it usually stems from needing to do that.
Yeah.
I've forgiven my mum for, like, we do this crazy stuff. We blame our parents for being poor or for saying something or whatever. They're doing the best that they can.
Totally.
It's not her fault that I was turning up to school and getting bullied because I was wearing some baggy, jeans that were falling off my butt and whatever. Like, it wasn't her fault.
Right.
Of course, we blame. And we hold on to that stuff. And you have to, it's really hard, but I suggest everybody, like, go and get a pen and paper and start writing this stuff down. Like, okay, what happened in school? Okay, so I got this thing happened, that thing happened, and this person said that, or I experienced this thing. Then from there, go and find out, who do you have to forgive for that? Who are you feeling resentment and anger towards because of that thing? Totally. And crazy what comes out of that. Yeah. And I suggest, if there was some like really bad traumatic stuff, to do that with a therapist, absolutely. But it depends on the level of trauma that you had to deal with. Forgiveness can be super hard if something was really, really traumatic. So that needs to go through a trauma therapist.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah. And it's interesting. Forgiveness, yes, I definitely have practiced that. Like you were saying, whether it's parents, siblings, people that rejected me in the past, like I definitely it's been forgiveness and gratitude for me this whole last 8 months probably. I mean, even before the relationship ended, I was constantly in the state, because I say relationship ended. We were not together, but whatever, COVID, boyfriend, girlfriend, but I had a lot of time because we weren't hanging out all the time. I had a lot of space, and for that healing, for the meditation to think and be like, Kelly, what really happened for me I was like, Kelly, you want this, you're not getting this. You have this mantra of like, let go of what's not serving you. This isn't serving you. And I'm very big into like, okay, obviously, like, who do you want to be? Well, you need to act in alignment with that. I'm sitting here teaching people about boundaries and all self-love, and I'm freaking not doing it myself fully and completely. Let's put it that way. You know, to a degree I was, of course, but I was like, that's not in alignment. That I can't, that's totally, I'm like acting like a stereotype. Like, that's not okay. So those couple of things were like, I have to let this go. I have to let him go. Obviously, hurt people, free people, free people. We need to free each other, and we got to free our minds, because this is just, it's just constant cycle. And we both like even said that when we were like ending things, like, he was like, you know, we could continue to do this same song and dance. But it's probably never going to get better until we like cut ties. And I was like, totally agree with you. You know, if we are meant to have our friendship in the future, at least we preserved what could be.
Yeah.
You know, so it is what it is, but that's God's plan, and that's fine. But yeah, I mean, there's just been like a lot of gratitude and forgiveness, forgiving him for like, you're not ready. It's okay. It's fine. Yeah. You know, and me saying gratitude, like, I'm so grateful for the space that we've had to heal and that I've had to heal. Yeah. And recognize and step into alignment and, you know, just love myself even more so that I can call in the things that I do desire.
And you see, and I everything that happens, bad or good, nothing is bad or good. Everything is good. And what I say to myself, there's actually a couple of things that I wanted to say to you. One is, people are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, is what I say. So if someone comes in and then like there's a breakup or like there's something, you know, happens, then I know that it was for a reason. Yeah. If someone's there for a season, if they're actually still there for a reason, but they might be there for a season or a period of your life that you needed that type of energy. Mm-hmm. And then, so the other part of that was everything that happens, whether I get like whether I get a new job. Oh no, that's, I have my job. Like, I love my work. So I'm trying to think of an example. You know, let's say you miss out on a big contract. Okay, let's say you miss out on a big contract. You don't get this big contract. And you thought it was like your big break, and that was going to be the change of everything, and it fell through and it didn't happen. I always look at the lesson that is there, so that I can make sure that it doesn't freaking happen again. Right. Because I know that if we do not learn the lessons, they will show up in some other way. It won't be the same thing either. It's sneaky. Yeah. It'll be the same, like, why this happened, you know, mm-hmm. undertone. And then and I'm like, I do not know, please let me learn. Like, I don't want to keep like, you know, getting all these lessons. So yes, I will sit down and I will really, really think about it. And sometimes it annoys my husband because, you know, like something will happen and I'll be like, well, let's think about the reason why. Like, what do we have to learn about this? He's like, it just happened. Right. No reason to it. And I'm like, no. I want to learn so that it doesn't happen again. Like, totally. I don't like repeating mistakes. Absolutely. I don't either. It's not my favorite thing. Yeah, no, absolutely not. No, that was awesome. Obviously your presence and everything, to me, I feel like you're just so aligned and so confident in yourself, but have you ever fell victim to like imposter syndrome, and what did you do to let go of that, move mm-hmm. past it? So this is interesting. I have not had imposter syndrome. I know exactly what it looks like, and I know that. But do you know why? And I think it's because I think it's because I learned a lesson. Or maybe I don't know. But I used to want to be an actress, so I'm a very good actor. And I think it was my mentor, Steve, back when I was 17. And he just poured so much belief and confidence in me. And there we go. See, I just found it. Yes, I have. And it was in my late teens. It was in that position that I had to sell and have meetings with hospital CEOs as to why they should buy my latex gloves over somebody else's. And so I was like 18, 19, sitting down with these head honcho CEOs of massive hospitals around Australia and New Zealand, trying to have them believe in me and our product. Wow. So yes, and I actually said to my boss, Steve, I was like, no one respects me. I'm 18, 19, like no one, I'm like this little kid, like I'm struggling, no one respects me. And he said, they're not respecting you because you don't respect yourself. It doesn't matter how old you are. He's like, you stand in there and you fake it till you make it. And you go in there and be that person that I know that you are. And if you need to think that you're a 40-year-old, then embrace that and pretend and act like you are the 40-year-old who has the best gloves in the world or whatever. And that's right, he did. He taught me that because I had a limiting belief that no one respected me because of my age. I had this huge belief that no one respected me because of my age. And that actually probably comes from children should be seen and not heard, which I heard a lot as a child. So that probably came from somewhere way deeper. So yes, but I learned that one at a very early age. So now at 35, I just stand in my power. Like, that's another thing, though, standing in your power as well. Like I am so confident and comfortable with the inner work that I have done, and I have so much belief in myself. Right? I don't have I very rarely have self-doubt, and if I do, I bring awareness to it, and then I fix that. And I go, why? Why are you doubting yourself right now? And then I also go into this, which I learned through my pen tag, was what's the worst that can happen? So another thing that I say to myself is, what's the worst that can happen? So let's say if 18-year-old going into the CEO hospital, and having that like imposter syndrome, I would tell that little 18-year-old, what's the worst that can happen? You don't get the sale? Okay, big deal. Move on and get another one. You just keep going. Right. The worst that can happen never is really that bad. When we actually do that little exercise, it's never that bad. And so, but that is another thing. Yes, I do get people talk. I do have people that I coach on imposter syndrome, and that is what I would say to them is fake it till you make it. Stand in your power and do as daily inner work on your confidence, your self-esteem, particularly your solar plexus. Usually, I would say we haven't really talked about that woo-woo side of me, but I will dig deep into like their chakras. And if someone does have that imposter syndrome, I go straight to their solar plexus. And I go straight there and I'm like, you need to get citrine, you need to go wear yellow, you need to do this meditation, you need to like. It is a solar plexus problem. That is where imposter syndrome comes from, right? And so, yes, I talked to him about that little work as well. But yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting.
I thought it was that I was, because I had an actress kind of thing in me, but no, it didn't come from no.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Speaking of the chakras, I think just us talking about it the other day kind of made me like, I don't know, I did some quiz online to see, I don't know if it's, extremely specific and spot on, but one of my solar plexus, it has a bit of blockage for sure. So that and my root chakra are blocked. So I've been listening to, like, as I'm sleeping, I'll like alternate every night. Like I'll like listen to like a root chakra meditation as I fall asleep, or sound healing or whatever. And then solar plex too.
Yeah, seriously. And there's a phenomenal book that I had to read as a part of my 200-hour yoga certification, and it is Eastern Body, Western Mind. Yeah, Eastern Body, Western Mind from Judith. Oh man, we'll have to put this in the show notes. Because everyone should read that book. And it is basically, yes, they talk about chakras, but if you don't believe in energy centers, if you don't believe in the chakras, you must believe in psychology. Okay, so it talks about energy centers, chakras, but from a kind of psychological standpoint, which is great because really at the end of the day, it is really all in our mind, right?
Right.
But I also incorporate, I do love the colors and the feeling and, you know, cultivating that certain energy like the root and the grounding effects of, you can't deny what works. And what worked, how I recovered over that 6 months was all of this stuff. And so that's why I believe in it so much, because no amount of Western medicine, right? Western medicine almost killed me. What actually healed me was Eastern. And all of this, I had to go to ground zero and work on my root chakra. So your root chakra, where your adrenal glands are, right? That is, right, all of the grounding, the family, the, you know, all of that stuff, it all starts there. It all starts there. And so anxiety comes from there. It comes from the root chakra. So we have to get grounded, we have to do all that. And so it took you, that book takes you through and helps you understand and heal as you go up.
Wow.
And yeah, it's
cool.
Just insane. And when I went to the Kripalu, the Gabrielle Bernstein's, the level 2, we actually had an energy healer come in and talk to us about how there is horizontal and vertical energy, and our lower 3 chakras, so our root, our sacral, and our solar plexus, is actually healed horizontally. So it has like a horizontal kind of energy. And again, this is not my forte, so I'm just kind of trying to relate a little bit. Everything else goes up and down, right? So from it, so our heart, throat, third eye, and then crown goes up. That goes up and down. And so when she's talking about that, is we are healed, our root, sacral, and solar plexus are healed through relationships. That's why we are not lone wolves. Human beings need connection. Human beings need touch. It takes a village, right? We have to have community, and it's because of those 3 grounding, massive energy centers that have that outward energy. And so when that goes out, it touches other people's energy, all that stuff. Oh man, so cool.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm like, it's funny because like, I think, you know, but my sister does a lot of energy work, and I've been telling her for so long, I'm like, Ashley, like, she knows all about the chakras. I mean, she does sound bowls, and each bowl is for each musical note. The musical note is to attune your different chakras, yada, yada. And I'm like, Ashley, like, you should put like a course together, or like a little mini program to teach people about your chakras. Like, I would benefit from that. I don't know enough about that. Like, that was thank you. I'm like, oh my gosh. But that is so it. I started to smirk when you were talking about relationships, because I was like, those 3 are the highest blocked chakras from that test that I did. And I'm like, that's exactly it. I just need someone to come over here and touch me.
Yeah, but it's true. It's like, it is. It literally is. And so this is why 2020 has been one of the highest years and most difficult years for mental health. Yeah. And it's all of those people who are single and stuck in their homes and literally could not have any connection or touch or community. And mental health has been really, really severe, really bad.
Yeah.
We haven't been, having that other people's that energy, that horizontal energy. We haven't been touched by it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why it's super, super important. But I
feel that a lot, because I crave that touch for sure. I mean, like I said, I haven't been around the guy in 4 months now. So there's that. Whatever was kind of steady. So, and I'm not too like social right now because of everything. So.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. Yeah.
I need hugs.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you think it's the grounding, so that homely family groundedness, that's your root chakra, then obviously your sacral, passion, desire. Yes, it's the reproductive organs and everything, so that's obvious. But then solar plexus too. It's the proud and the confidence and the strength that we get from other people lifting us up, or from other people, positive. Now, of course, you can get negative people around you, which is obviously going to have the reverse effect. Right. But you think a really supportive friend or a really supportive husband that gives you a hug and says, I'm so proud of you, you're doing amazing, and how that's going to heal so many of those energy centers.
Absolutely.
Those three.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm glad my sister's out of town and she left her dog with me. So I feel like I have been snuggling a little bit. So that's good.
Yeah, and actually, it's very true though, because dogs, they have energy too. And they're very, you know me, I'm actually like, I want a dog sanctuary and I want all the wolves.
Yeah.
So I'm like literally now, so I have a husky for all the listeners and a Pomeranian, and I literally just want all of the huskies, all the wolves. I've been to the wolf sanctuary in Colorado twice, like had them on me, like on my shoulder, had these wolves like this big head. You've got a photo of it. They're just incredible. So if you're ever in Divide, Colorado, go to the Wolf and Wildlife Sanctuary. It's insane.
That's so cool. So I have two more questions for you. So you're really good at goal setting and manifestation. So I would love for you to share, if you can, like just about that. Like how have you aligned yourself to be able to manifest what you desire?
Yeah, manifesting, it all comes down to energy. At the end of the day, we are constantly manifesting, no matter what. To the point where I can get a little bit obsessive over it and be like, if I ever feel down or low, so this is something that I have to work on myself. When I feel my energy coming down, I'm like, oh my gosh, no, I'm gonna like manifest bad stuff. Like, so I'm like, no, like get up, like this. Instead of sometimes where maybe perhaps I need to feel some stuff.
Yeah.
So I am totally aware of that, but that I fix my energy and I change my state. So Tony Robbins, I went to Unleash the Power Within last year, I guess. Yeah, last year. And I loved how he explained how we change our state. And that is, if ever, man, that has stuck. If there was one thing that I learned from Tony Robbins, it was literally that, and how it all just, you can change your physiology and then you change your energy and then you're good. And, he tells you to imagine that you have a piece of string connected to your sternum and someone's lifting it up from the sky. So you lift up like that, your shoulders come back, you lift your chin a little bit, and boom, you've just completely, just by doing that short little, physiology change, you have actually changed your energy. Mm-hmm. And so that was if I change your state. So if ever I do feel that kind of lower vibration, because of something that's happened or whatever, I instantly do that and I feel better. So that's a very small part. The second part is actually Joe Dispenza, who I absolutely adore, and follow his work like to the T. I absolutely love it. And so obviously we all have an electromagnetic field around us, and it comes out about like 3 feet, depending on how your energy is. And, our thoughts actually create more of an electrical charge. So we put our thoughts out, which is great, which is necessary, but it's actually feeling and emotions in our heart that actually has a magnetic attraction or a magnetic charge. So it brings things back in. Mm-hmm. So you cannot just think about what you want. You cannot just, this is a huge part of manifesting and attracting. You can't just put a thought out there like a goal, okay? You actually have to partner it with the feeling of having that thing. Your energy in your body, your brain does not know the difference between actually having that thing or you just thinking and feeling like you do. It has no idea. Energy is energy. So you can create your own reality, your own energy by partnering your thought or your goal, like let's say I want $1 million, and then feeling you like you already have that $1 million by putting it out there, and you're attracting it right back in. So that's how your attraction goes, your electromagnetic field, right? And so it goes out and in. And so most people miss that part of feeling it because they just think it's just a goal that we have to kind of put out, and we don't cultivate already being in that energy. Yeah. Now, frequency and energy, okay, so frequency, it's kind of like, it's like a AM, FM kind of like radio, right? And so we actually have, I'm doing hand signals too, no one can see me. So it's where the term wavelength comes from. And when we say, oh my gosh, we're on the same wavelength, right? And it's because you literally are. You're vibrating, putting out the same frequency as that other person. Mm-hmm. So again, another really important thing to make sure that you are having that higher vibration, you're feeling good, okay, feeling and thinking good, so that you attract the same people that have that energy, okay? Yeah. Those are the people that Elon Musk, that's the Bill Gates. Those are the people that you want to attract into your life, because they want to be around you, because you're like super happy and positive and good energy, and they just feel good around you. And those are the successful people they're the ones that are going to give you the opportunities. Mm-hmm. They're the ones that are going to put you in front of the right people. They're the ones that we say it's manifesting, but really it's reality. We're attracting the right people. They're like, hey, you're awesome. Like, you need to go and meet John and that, whatever, But if you're a miserable kind of sack, well, then that person's not going to want to introduce you to anybody.
Totally.
It's like a small part of it, but this is why it's so important to have that, to be up there. So, and I have a vision board right up there, right in front of my face, and I look at it, but I feel it. And I don't self-sabotage by here's a great thing that people do with self-sabotage is, let's say let's talk about weight for a second, and then I'll talk about money thing. When people go and eat fish and chips or McDonald's or whatever it is, or they go on like a binge or whatever, then the next morning they go weigh themselves just to have validation of their F up. You know what I mean?
Right.
What I say to clients, the worst, never weigh yourself. I never weigh, I barely weigh myself ever now, but I only weigh myself when I feel good. Yeah. I only weigh myself when I feel like my pants are fitting better or my abs are showing or something like that, right? I'm like, I wonder how much I weigh. That's when I weigh myself. I don't weigh myself the day before my period. Right. Like, that would be crazy.
Right, exactly.
So that's another self-sabotage, right? Just to validate and make them and kind of punish themselves for screwing up or whatever on their diet. Another part with money is if they know a big bill comes out, they go and check their account after the fact just to kind of validate it. Just to be like, oh no, I really don't have money. Oh, and then they're in that bad energy. No, check your account when someone pays you a large sum of money.
Right, exactly.
And you've got to be super aware of your finances all the time. But it's just an example of how we go through and self-sabotage all the freaking time, all these little signs. So I always say, check things, like feel good, do that kind of stuff, check things when you're feeling good and you're in that state.
Yeah. So smart. Yeah, I love that. And what you were saying, just embody the feeling as if it's already happening, as though you already have it, that kind of thing. And that is the connection of not just putting it out there, it's you reeling it in.
Yep.
It's embodying. I love that.
And there's there's little tricks that you can do. Like, let's say it's money and you're trying to attract a lot of money, but it's hard to feel abundant when you have $5 in your account. Like, I get it. Right. So one thing is leaving money around your house. Mm-hmm. And so when you go into a pocket and you pull out $5, you're like, oh my gosh.
Right.
You can actually do little tricks like that if you're finding it hard, to get to that abundant kind of state. Yeah. But it is you've got to have an underlying belief and faith that you are going to make it, that you are going to be successful, that you are going to be happy, right? You just have to have that unwavering faith, and it takes daily, right? Again, daily work and belief in yourself and your success. You have to think about it every single day and feel it. And every win that happens, you celebrate. and you feel it and you take it in, and it's just a snowball in a good way.
Yeah, absolutely. Celebration. I'm definitely a fan of celebrating everything. I even celebrate, and I know this may sound interesting to our listeners, but I celebrate, all those lessons, like I could sit here and be like, oh, our relationship didn't work out, or, my business isn't where it wants to be, or, whatever the case may be. And it's like, okay, well, what lessons have you learned? Celebrate those, because you are succeeding because you've learned a lesson. So it's always a win. So we should always be celebrating. Always a win.
Always.
Always a party.
Always a party. And if ever something feels, so this is where, and I think, there's a little bit of years of experience to put into this, because it's daily work. Just like anything, you become better at doing. The longer you've done something, the better you become, right?
Yeah.
And when something doesn't sit right, when something doesn't feel good, you ask yourself why, and I'll explain this. It's because you want to fix, because there's something deep, there's something under there, right?
Yeah.
So, I took CEO out of all my titles and all my names and everything recently. And it was because I was so focused on the success of being a CEO and what that title and what that status, when people read that, I was more excited about when other people read that I was a CEO, more so than the whole reason why I'm doing everything that I'm doing here, right? And so it was taking me out, because our ego always tests us. It always tests us and makes sure that we're real and we're authentic and we stay grounded and that we're always serving and doing the right thing. And so it'll always come in and have these little tests. And so I was just like, oh yeah, no. I was getting caught up in the title and what that looked like instead of the work, instead of, no, it doesn't matter who I am. I'm just Jem Munro, and I help people, in their businesses and become healthy and successful. And I like to say, live a rich and enriched life. Yeah. That's what I'm here for. It doesn't matter who I am. It doesn't matter. I'm not here for that. I'm here for them. I'm here for you. And so I do like to keep myself in check all the time, because our egos will come in.
Yeah, I know. It's funny because when I explain when I explain my inner work with people, I'm like, yeah, I have conversations with myself all the time. I know it sounds kind of weird, but it's not. Because it is like, that's constant. That is what you're doing. It's not like we're sitting here second guessing everything that we're doing. It's just, if something pops up, there's a fear, there's a resistance, hesitation, anything. Okay, well, we should be asking ourselves, where is that really coming from? Because that's how you're going to get to the deep-rooted story of it. And you may need a coach to help you get there. That's why we're here,
Well, because honestly, often it takes a conversation, it takes the relationship stuff. Okay, so again, that's that horizontal energy. It's usually coming from something in our 3 lower chakras. So it's horizontal. So it takes a coach, it takes a trainer, it takes a therapist to help us heal stuff like money blocks or egotistical, things that are limiting us. And as much as smart as we are, or as many years of experience as we have, or whatever, sometimes it just takes someone else. It takes another person, because guess what else? We've been so stuck in our own conditioning and our own brains for how many years we've been alive, that sometimes we can't actually see outside of our experiences, our actual life. Someone has to come in and see it from the outside and be totally unemotionally, or emotionally detached.
Right.
So we will always need people. We will always need people. You think about CEOs, it's actual, Bill Gates, and no one's doing anything on their own, right? No one's doing anything on their own. No, exactly. I mean, people like Gary Vee, I actually know his, personal trainer, who's marrying a good friend of mine. Gary Vee has a personal trainer, but he's a motivated freaking guy. Right. So we need people. We need coaches and trainers and other people to help us over that bridge.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. I would not be where I am today without you, without Aaron, and all the other mentors that I have studied under. I mean, yeah, the connection. I thrive in it. I absolutely love it. So I wanted to ask one more thing. What would be, do you have any particular like mantra that you could leave us with off the top of your head? Put you on the spot.
Yeah. Honestly, I think I'm in this season this year of like true service of others. That and it's not that I've been leaving myself out or my needs, because I'm fully I take care of myself very, very well.
Yeah.
So I have all of my mantras and affirmations and everything has all been around service of others. So it's all my actual, okay, here we go. This is, and again, it's not really about me. Well, because, okay, I'll just tell you. What I have been saying this year is, it's not about me, it's about we. And I keep putting that on repeat. You'll see it in my posts, you'll hear it in my podcast, you'll hear it in interviews that I've had. I have this energy of this year. It's not about me, it's about we. So that is my mantra, and that is what I have been repeating to myself this whole year. And that is what I have learned. And it's because a lot of people, when we go into strife and stress, and fear and panic, what happens chemically is, you think about this. If there is a caveman, and that caveman is getting chased down by a tiger, it's going to need cortisol and it's going to need adrenaline, because it needs blood sugar and it needs strength, right? What it's not thinking about is, well, I wonder what my cave woman wife is making me for dinner. Or I wonder if I should turn right and just go and like grab some wood for the family on the way back. It's not thinking about anybody else, but get the hell away from the tiger and save your life. And so that is what happened. I saw a lot of people go into that in 2020, and they went into that stress mode, that panic, and that survival. And the problem there is they go into competition, because it's about me, it's about me, it's about me. Right. So they compete because they're trying to win everything. They're trying to win every client, or they're trying, they don't want to collaborate, or they don't want to share because they're in survival. They're not thinking about the collective. Wow. And that's where I went. I just saw it all happening, and I went, no, it's not about me. Wow. It's not about me. And that's where my massive pivot came this year in helping small businesses.
Yeah. Well, talk about that. Tell us about that. We didn't even touch on that. I know go into that real quick. I want to hear your evolution of your business.
Right. Well, I mean, personal trainer, obviously built my business for 8 years. And so and of course I began my career in sales and marketing and building businesses and business development and all of the things. So I love business, love the business aspect. Fitness served me, because I also have a massive passion for health and wellness, obviously, and self-care. And then obviously the yoga and the meditation all came into that. I had to have those panic attacks because I had to learn that, so that I could then serve all of these entrepreneurs and business owners and coaches and help them thrive through self-care, boundaries, making sure that their health and wellness was taken care of and coming first, and talking about energy and all of that. Because if you're not right, your business is not right.
Right.
So then I paired this year my mind, body, and soul teachings, and turned them and focused on helping business owners who were struggling this year, which was most people, right? And entrepreneurs. And I was like, let me help you get through this. Let me help you. Let me combine mind, body, and soul with my business strategies, with my sales and marketing history, with my with all of the management and the strategy and the creative. So my, again, Gallup Strength Finder test, my number one strength is strategy. And my second one is activator, meaning get shift done. explicit
Yeah, it's
thing.
fine.
Yeah, and so I can literally strategize things, and then my second strength is to make it happen. And so I pair all of my strengths from the Gallup Strength Finder test, and I help businesses and entrepreneurs and coaches grow, but not letting go of the fact that, hey, let's make sure you're also taking care of yourself whilst you're doing all of this, because your business is going to be a direct reflection of your health.
Yeah.
And so this year I went, see you later, PT. So, I built a gym membership virtual workout program, which was, it was showcased in the Atlanta magazine here in Atlanta, and that was phenomenal. And it served everybody who was a part of it, because what else were we going to do? So I did that. But then again, as soon as, things kind of started opening up, and I went, and it broke my heart when I saw boutiques. Again, my love of passion comes from very, very, my first job was in the warehouse of a fashion place, right? So I just really focused on that, and it just absolutely broke my heart seeing how many people were struggling. And I was like, you know what, I can help them. I'll stand up and I'll help. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 2020.
I love it. Yeah. And you've totally just stepped into such a powerful space. I've watched it, and Instagram, seen you just evolve, and every post I'm just like, yes.
Yeah, you just reminded me of that hype girl off Ellen. I don't know if you ever saw that, but Ellen had these two gorgeous little girls, and one of them was the hype girl for the other one. The other one had I don't know what she did, I can't remember, but her friend was always the one who was yeah so funny. That was so cute. Super famous now. I don't know, but yeah.
Oh my God, I love that. That's so great. Well, this has been so fun. I'm so glad that you were able to do this with me today, and just share your light. I know so many people resonated, but also learned a lot from this podcast episode. And I did. This was so great. I wrote a couple of things down myself. But no, thank you. Tell people, tell our audience where they can find you, if you have anything coming up for 2021, if you want to share that with us.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot, but so my website, www.gembbodymind. So gem, I'm not saying gym, I'm saying I'm saying GEM. Yeah. So my accent, of course, it sounds like I'm saying JIM. So gembbodymind.com, obviously my Instagram at gem_Munro, MUNRO. And in 2021, so I have one of my clients who we're taking people to Paris in September, and taking them on personal shopping experiences. So yes, that's a big thing that's coming, and we're super excited about that. Not only for obviously my client's business, but people have been dying to get out. People are dying to travel, and so it's just going to be the most amazing experience. So you can keep an eye on that. And then obviously, yeah, if you are an entrepreneur or business owner and you've hit a ceiling in your income and time, then I help you break through that ceiling.
Yeah, she does. And she helps you launch podcasts and do all the things. But you help us. I will say this, and I was already, doing this, as far as I knew that I wanted to, and I knew that I needed to step more into my zone of genius. And so I had already kind of hired a VA, but for little minimum stuff. And since working with Jem, she's like, have them do it. And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess they could do this. She kind of just brings that awareness to everything. I feel like, so, she's helping me do all the things, but all the things meaning my zone of genius, stepping fully into my power, my passion, my light, and only doing that. So yes. I appreciate that.
Well, and I did a post today, but whenever this podcast comes out, you'll have to go back and have a look at the thing. But it's my whole thing is my client's sanity is really, like I said, health and sanity is my number one priority. And if you are doing all the things in your business,
Mm-hmm.
you are going to drive yourself nuts. You're going to resent your business. It's not going to be fun anymore. You're not going to enjoy it. And,
Right.
and that is not an option. And so that I help with that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. And I speak, a lot on burnout. And that's what I was saying, it's like, I knew that I needed to do some things and I was like getting there, but Jem, I just needed that like push from Jem.
And so you don't, entrepreneurs, I'm the same. The reason that I know how to help them is because I am literally the same. I'm like, I want to do this and I want to do this and I want to do that. All the things. And then I exhaust my husband because I'm just like, this is and like I want to get like some random thing. It's just we're creators.
Yes.
Because we've created a business, we're creators. And so, we have to have someone on the outside. We can't rely on having to think about all of the bullet points ourselves, the steps and the processes ourselves. We've got to stay in our creative mode, our creator mode. We've got to be up here in that creative land. That is our zone of genius. Yeah. Someone else can worry about hey, do step 1, 2, then 3. You know that you needed step 1, 2, and 3, but your brain doesn't have the capacity to think of all of the things, every step, 1, 2, 3, for all of the 10 things that you have in your head, your ideas. You can't possibly think about the strategy and the marketing and all of those as well as coming up with all the genius. You just can't. No, we cannot rely on that.
Absolutely. 100% agree with that. And, it kind of taps into your, it's you being more in your feminine energy because you are being and you're in that creative flow too. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
I love that. Yay. Well, this has been so good. Thank you so much again. And everyone, if you like this episode, screenshot, tag us on Instagram, share all about us, give us great reviews, all the things.
Do the little, when a new episode comes out, get a reminder.
Yeah. Turn on all the notifications, follow Jem, invest in yourself always.
And remember, it's not about me, it's about we as the collective. We can help each other. We're all going to rise higher when we help each other up.
Absolutely.
Okay? Rather than scrambling and grabbing someone I have this like little vision in my head of like, those zombies movies where they're like trying to get over a wall and everyone's like scrambling and like trying to grab each other. Yeah, no, let's just all help each other over the wall.
Exactly. Yes, totally agree. Let's not be zombies.
Yeah, let's not.
Oh my goodness. Well,
love you so much.
I love you too.